Hello and welcome to the studio here at African Utility Week. And I'm now joined by Gianluca, who's the technical director at MarelliMotori. I'm trying my best to get all the pronunciation right, but Gianluca, firstly, thank you for making the time to be here. And we were talking a little bit off air, and you were telling me about how involved and how active you've been in this market for such a long time. And just tell us a little bit about that journey, where you started and where we are.
Yeah, I'm pleased to tell you that MarelliMotori has a long-standing tradition in electrical rotating machines since 1891. And we considered Africa a strategic continent since over 10 years. So we have a base here in South Africa, in Johannesburg, to support any activity relevant to our business segments, which may range from industrial to marine, to oil and gas, and of course, renewable energies. Renewable energies represent 30% plus of our turnover, and we have a great focus on the opportunities coming and available in this beautiful continent.
And when you're looking at renewables, you're specifically on the sort of hydro side of things, or do you cover everything, wind, solar, and things like that?
Now we basically are focused on hydropower application, but just to get to the point, we develop what we call the mini micro power stations, less than 10 meg, because of the following reasons. They are affordable financially. They are quick from design to operation, less than 2 years. And they do not need the huge infrastructure works that may be required just to serve remote villages. So they are probably the solution for this huge continent.
And those are I mean, describe them a little bit. If you paint a picture of what that looks like, because you know, you say to someone hydropower, almost the iconic image in your head is Hoover Dam or the Three Gorges Dam or something like that. That's the scale, but you're saying that's not.
No, that's not. In fact, tomorrow we're gonna also present together with one of our key customers 2 success cases we've been required to put on the show last year, to show you 2 projects, hydropower project we made in Zimbabwe. And these were very practical with a lot of pictures. Picture is worth than 1,000 words. Mm. And instead of building, as you said, giant dams, so huge, you know, civil constructions or whatever is relevant to make a giant power stations, we tend to be environmentally and socially friendly, and to try to mitigate the huge presence of water and the possibility consistently with the need of the people to have power, light for their common needs. And tomorrow we're going to show a couple of good cases. But our approach is, like I said, different, to fit into the environment, to look after what is the best solution, not to force, and also from the power standpoint, not to make some, you know, huge or giant stations which at the end of the day may disturb the rest of the, you know, of the life on the planet.
Yeah, and I mean that sounds absolutely great. But one of the questions I was going to ask is, does your solution then also dovetail in? We had an earlier interview with Lloyd from Aqualog, who was saying that, well, look, one of the big other issues for this continent is water, demand management of water, and you know, sometimes hydropower can kind of go against that. You know, what do you use? Do you use this water to generate electricity, or do you use this water to get it to people in a efficient way? Do you guys marry in with that need as well?
Yes, sir. Mm. I think our approach is to give people, of course, maximum priority, and to use a fractional portion of the available water in selected destination, using, for instance, the altitude, which are coming from the natural hills that you have, just to be, like I said, fitting into the environment. And this could be probably a good trade-off between the need of people to have power just to charge their phones, and not to make huge constructions, which may be at the end of the day impacting this beautiful environment.
No, absolutely, and it's one of the key things to maintain that balance between environment and the desire for energy and things like that. One of the other things you mentioned beforehand is some of the work you guys are doing in China, and you were saying that China as a country is the biggest investor in renewables at the moment?
Yes. Recently, China has focused, and China is an entity as it stands, and they decided to strongly invest in renewable energies, of course, from solar to cogeneration, so it's the use of gas instead of natural fossil fuels, to hydro. And recently, due to the reputation MarelliMotori has on a worldwide scale, I've been appointed to chair the Hydro session at the New Energy Forum in China. And of course, the focus remains also on the mini micro power stations for the reasons I told you. Instead of having a return on the investment, which may be in the range of 5 years, you can have it very quickly with those smart, intelligent.
And that's an interesting point. So you're saying that the actual full investment return happens in a much shorter time scale,
Yes.
but you were saying about 2 years, or?
I would say even less. It depends, of course, on the water availability. So you understand that sometimes water is unpredictable. In fact, what is for sure confirmed by facts and evidence is that from design, so from the greenfield to the operational activities of a power station, let me say rated 5 meg, which can feed, just to give an order of magnitude, over 1,000 families, which is good. So a good village, a good sized village with 1 unit. Could return the investment depending on the tariffs, the temperature of the water, in, let me say, no more than a couple of years.
Right.
With that being said, we have also to deal and to select the location so that we can maximize the efficiency and the availability of water so that we can run the plant efficiently. Just to tell you other ideas which are under current investigation, there is also the tidal energy applications where we work. And people are saying that tides, as we know, are predictable, and to generate power out of the waves could be an option in the next future.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and certainly in the UK, there's always some fascinating discussions about
Exactly.
tidal power. There are a few rivers, I think, where we've got potential, but anyway, that's a whole different thing. I got a couple more questions before we wrap up and finish off. This sort of more containerized sort of micro hydro philosophy, is that being adopted in Europe and the more sort of energy developed nations? Are they looking at it as well?
Yes, the ideas were in the past. Let me step back in the past. In the past, the concept was typically to build a large power station with very large machines. And what they found out due to the shortage of water on a worldwide scale is that the unit, the single giant unit, was operating with a very low efficiency. Instead, what they're trying to do in Europe, and of course imported on a worldwide scale, is to have a power station made of multiple units, so you can maximize the efficiency of single units, and in case parallel more, should you have
So
water availability.
Yeah, you can turn it on, and it makes it all much more agile. Before we started the interview, just for us to close off, because again, we're coming to the end of our time here, you told me that you've been coming to this event for a long time. Well, we're clearly here at African Utility Week. What are some of the the key sort of changes that have kind of impressed you about where the market is moving and shifting from being at the show, and what are some of the things you're looking forward to, you know, walking around here? For me, like for you, it's a long way to fly. You know, there must be some good reasons to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we are supporting this event since the last 5 years, because we do believe that Africa, as the European and the World Council are reporting, is rich of natural resources, from sun to wind to solar. And I'm pleased to report that the show or the conference changed from Hydropower to Clean Energy Africa. And also, as I saw just on the stage, many players. So the reasons why we came is, of course, to share our experience, to give the African people the possibility to consider solutions which are available, and to support through our regional office here in South Africa, whichever the plans for growing of this continent may be.
Well, and it's great that you guys are all here, and that we're here doing this. I've got one final takeaway question: is do you think that there is an opportunity here to create a more renewable-centric grid than we've got in, let's say, you know, the developed countries, where by and large, I mean, most of it is still from fossil fuels. I mean, despite what the politicians say, none of that stuff is going to come on stream for a while. Do you think that's an opportunity here?
Of course. I think the important factor is to have to study what to do, when to do, and to respond to the 5W, as we all know. So I think the opportunities in this continent exist. Once again, you're going to be given a couple of 2 success stories for Zimbabwe, and I think this should be considered like the baseline for the future development for every African country.
Well, thank you again for being here. It's, again, fascinating interview. And those 2 success stories will more likely than not be on Engerati, because we take all the recordings from these events and make them available for you to watch on demand. And I hope you enjoyed this interview, and I enjoyed meeting with you, and thanks very much for watching.